Hi, welcome to another week of Tax Space with my face. So last week we had a focus on personal tax returns. This week I want to focus more on ATO payment plans. So obviously there's been a lot more debt over the last couple of years with COVID that's been mounting for businesses and individuals, so not just one versus the other. And look, the last couple of years, the ATO have sort of taken the approach with COVID to not pursue heavily those debts. They have now since been given the all clear, so they are back on board in really having that bullish approach to get the debts down. So while previously you were sort of getting away with not having to do a payment plan, that's not going to be the approach going forward. And the biggest thing is we're also still seeing a lot of people going through for finance. And what people are not aware of is that if you have a debt with the ATO and you do not have a payment plan in place, that actually is considered a loan and it can actually go against your potential finance opportunity. Now, I'm not a finance broker, so I encourage you to talk to a broker about that, but I am seeing a lot of that come through. So getting a lot of inquiries from brokers to confirm that there are payment plans in place, but also to show those debts, because the ATO now report overdue debts to credit platforms. So it can actually impede your eligibility of getting finance and go against your credit rating. So it is important to do payment plans, but the other thing is if you're talking to an accountant with a good strategy, you don't want this situation to spiral. So having a payment plan in place that's not too heavy in terms of meaning that you can't meet your future obligations is very important to get that balance right. Very often I'll see people go, I'll afford this much a week, and and they don't think about, hey, they've got another BAS due in 3 or 4 weeks. And I always have the approach of, let's focus on getting you current and let's quarantine that debt. Let's make sure we see what that debt is, and let's try and manage that as best we can, because that's not going to go away. But what we can do is change the dynamic in terms of what we're going to do going forward. Far too often I'll see so much focus on the debt that then the new bill comes up that they can't afford to pay, and then the new debt becomes old debt. Whereas I would prefer to work with you to get, hey, let's focus on new debt. Let's make sure that we put things in place to keep those under control, keep obligations up to date, keep payments, lodgements up to date, as well as those payments of future things. Because it does mean that the ATO will be much more receptive to us to organise payment plans historically. And then we can potentially do things like getting interest remitted that gets charged on your account. A lot of people aren't aware that they actually have to pay interest on those expenses as well for that loan. As well as late penalties, if there were those, they keep mounting when people put their head in the sand. So payment plans are important to not ignore is basically the summary of today's chat. Thank you. See you next time.